Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to build something really useful, a custom WordPress blog grid shortcode. So by the end of this video, you will be able to display your blog posts anywhere on your website using something like, let me show you. Uh, I'm just creating a page inside Elementor. So I have just dragged a Flexbox create container, and now I have to simply fetch the shortcode, and that's all. So we will be creating something where we will be calling our shortcode like this. All right. Moreover, we can also pass some parameters like this. All right. So if I simply publish this page and view it, it will be doing nothing for us because at the moment we don't have anything and it will not be doing anything. And why we are seeing this? Because in the previous video we have this thing which we didn't remove yet. Okay, so I'm just saving it, and now let's quickly jump into our development. All right, so how to achieve this, how to create this shortcode? I am creating another class, and I can name it, as you know we are using some sort of a prefix for our classes. So I can simply say it like class shortcodes.php. All right. So we have created our class, and the next step comes is to actually write code for our class. Okay, first things first, whenever we have creating a file, we make sure that direct access of the file is prevented. So whenever anyone comes into the absolute path of the file, we will be giving them no access at all. All right, so I am inside my plugin file and I'm going to create a class for this functionality. So I can say something in same fashion like we were doing earlier. So I can simply say it class shortcode. All right, now instead of writing everything in global scope, we use a class to keep things clean and scalable. All right, and in this class, as we were already going through the functionality, we were using singleton pattern, so same I will be following here as well. Why we do use singleton pattern? If you don't have any issues to, if you feel it a bit tough to understand, so it's not that tough at all. What it does, it simply gives us a single instance of our class rather than reusing or creating instances multiple times. So it's useful in our plugin development. All right, I will also be trying my best to provide you all the details in our written guide. Now we can simply create our function as well, that instance which we are already creating in our previous code as well. Now we can add a check if our instance is null, then we can create one. Right, that's how we create actually our instance, and then finally we will be returning our instance. All right, so we have created our get instance method to create our instance. Now, what's next? Next thing is we have to create our shortcode. For that, we can simply create our another method, and this time we can say our method something like construct. All right. So how we create or register a shortcode? To register a shortcode, we use add shortcode. It is built in WordPress function. All right. The name of our shortcode is CA blog underscore grid. It is the same name which we are using here. CA underscore blog underscore grid. All right. And then next thing is comes its callback. So for callback function, we can simply create some sort of a like render function, or you can say it render blocks, or I can simply say to render block grid, because naming convention matters a lot. All right. So what we have done so far, we have created our main class file, we have created our class for the shortcodes, we have created our get instance method in a so we can have a singleton pattern followed properly, and then finally we created our shortcode. And next thing is we have to create our fallback. All right. So what's a fallback? Fallback actually is a function which runs once a shortcode is created. All right. Like once we use that this particular shortcode inside a post or page or anywhere, so the function which will be used to return or run the code in place of this shortcode is the callback function. All right. So now it's time to create our callback function. So we can simply create our function. It is something. It is render block grid. All right. So by now I can simply say something like, okay. So will it work? Yes, it will not. Why it will not work yet? Because we have created our class, but we have not instantiated our class in our main plugin file. So this class is not known to our plugin. How to make it known? Yes, exactly. We have to simply add our class first, like we did for the old one. So we can pass name of our class. All right. And then we have to create instance. Yes, exactly. So we can create another one for our shortcodes class. All right. So the name of our shortcodes class is CA block shortcodes. Yes, so we can simply call it get instance. Now now it should work. So what we did, we created our shortcode class, and in our main plugin file we required our class in same fashion as required once, and then in our main plugin instantiation where we actually start our plugin, inside that we created an instance of our shortcode class. All right. So now if I just go to our shortcode, so it will be all right. So some sort of error. So now if we just go to that particular line, and we can simply say we made a mistake. All right. So during development, that's why it's important to keep our debugger enabled, so we know everything is working fine and as intended. Okay, we will also be checking why we are getting this error, but at the moment everything is fine and our shortcode is running perfect. So we can check for the warning as well. So on our class, so why we are having this error altogether? So we created our instance, and then we have verified our instance, and then if not, we created our instance and we return our instance. Oh, we are simply missed this thing altogether. All right. Now check once again what we did, and hopefully everything will be fine. All right. So we are still seeing our AJAX alert, so we have to simply reload without cached, so our latest assets are loaded. All right, so our shortcode by now is working as intended because whatever we returned, that is showing all good. Perfect. Now it's time to create our shortcode in a proper way. Why I'm saying this? I'm saying this because we will be providing some attributes. Exactly. Shortcode attributes. These are the attributes which we use during the usage of our shortcode. All right, then we have to pass our ads like this. All right, so what's going on here? We are simply passing a array and we can pass name of our argument which we were using. So we can provide a default something like 6. All right, so what's going on? We are creating a attributes instance, and in it we are passing our attribute value, a default value. What it does, it will be simply returning this value if we are not passing it from the shortcode itself. For example, let me show you. If I'm not passing this altogether here and I am just removing it like this, so it will be rendered from this. Yes, from this default value. Perfect. I think you are following along, and if you are facing any issues during any phase of the development, you can always let me know. All right. So now, as we have to return, I can simply start our object, and then I can also return our object as return object get clean. What it does, because we are rendering a lot of HTML in it, so it is always better to return. Yes, exactly. All right. So what's next? Next thing is, first of all, we will be creating our args array to fetch our posters. All right. So how we do that? We simply create our array of arguments and we pass our data. Here, the things to remember and things to note are this particular post type. So if you want to fetch posters from default post type, you will be using post. Otherwise, you will be using name of your post type. All right, and then finally we will be only fetching posters which are published. All right, because we will also be having some other post types like uh, draft or pending or something like that. So now let me show you what it does. We have created an arguments array. In it we passed which type of posters we want to fetch. All right, let me quickly show you. Inside WordPress, if you see, default post type is always post. All right, so now once we added post, we will be fetching these posters. But if we says like page, we will be fetching data from the pages. And if we will be using different names of post types, we will be fetching data for that particular post. All right, so to we can also make this variable, make this shortcode dynamic by simply providing an other feature here like post type, and here we can pass default to post. All right, and then from within our shortcode, users will be using it like page. All right, so now once this shortcode is loaded, users will be fetching data from the page post type, and if any custom post type, you can play with it as well, but I am not going to do this. Why? Because it is for your own learning curve. All right, so now we have our arguments array ready, and next thing is to create our query so we can fetch our posts. How we do that? We simply create instance of our WP query and we pass our arguments array like this. All right, now we have successfully created our query object. What is next? The next thing is we have to go through the loop and run our posts. How we do that? We simply do that like this. If query we call its method have posters, and while it means until query have posters. Very, self-explanatory. And then we use query and call its method the post, which will be providing us actual post object for that particular post. All right, so here we can simply say something like this, the title. All right, what's going on? And it is something useful to remember. Always we have to reset our query. Yes, because if we don't do it, the main query can lead to issues. All right, so it perfect. Okay, so we are fetching six posters, and title of each post is being shown all good. All right, perfect. Now, why we are seeing this warning, we have to check it. So we are saying shortcode attributes, and we are passing an array, and then we are fetching that array, and in that array we are using everything fine. So where is the issue? Why we are facing issue at all? Alright, attributes, shortcode, attributes, and here we are passing our array all good, and posters per page is equal to 6. Alright, so no problem at all. That may be the missing. Alright, and inside attributes we are using same object, same key to fetch the data. Line not 28. It shouldn't be an issue at all. Why we are facing this issue? Oh, we haven't passed our attributes. Shit. So that's how we can be silly during development. All right. So we have retrieved our six posters, and each post is showing its title perfectly. What's next? So instead of showing our titles, we have to actually show our proper cards like this. How to do that? We have to simply use the HTML in place of the. So I have to simply open my HTML folder. It was inside my this one. Okay, so inside blog, so I have to copy my card folder. All right, so this is my HTML. I am copying it because we have already used our assets all fine. So I can simply use my HTML here. All right, so one more thing to remember, we will not be using filters in this particular case. So here we have to simply use the card, as we are inside the loop, so we have to just keep one card. All right, and then we have to also make sure we are keeping rest of the code outside, like we have to. I have to simply show you. Okay, because this is going to be outside the while, like here. I'll be showing you what's going on. Right, so then we have to simply remove all these as well. All right, so let's see what we actually have at the moment. We should be seeing perfect. So we are seeing 6 cards, each card for each post. All right. So next step is we have to simply make our. I have to simply adjust my code so it should be pretty make it understandable. And now we have to simply make our card final. So how to do that? First of all, for the image thing, we have to check if has post thumbnail. This is the function we use to check if this image has post thumbnail or not. Alright, if it has, otherwise we can inside cards we can always use a default as well. So card layouts are not broken at all. Alright, so I can simply copy it inside the else. But what to show here? Here we have to show the post thumbnail URL. Post thumbnail URL, and we can also pass type. So here we can simply say the large one. Alright. So in alt we have to make sure we are using proper coding standards, so we can use the title attribute. So it will be giving us proper attribute. Alright, so for the default one, we can simply use our plugins path. Alright, like let me show you. It was CA blog. So what was the name of our constant? It was something like this, because now we have to use our exactly. So we can echo the path, and here we can like this, and it is under our assets folder. Alright, so and then we can simply alright, so then we can simply call it like this. So what's going on here is now we have simply echo URL and our path to image, and then we are saying just close it up. Alright, so now we are good to go. Okay, so if our images folder is missing, so we have to just go back to our images folder, so we have to get it inside our assets folder. Alright, now if I view it again, it should be all good, and we will be seeing some sort of a why we are still seeing broken images. Alright, so our image is not loading. It has post thumbnail. The post thumbnail URL large. Okay, so what if I just check like this, because maybe my images are broken on my local end, so I can check it. Perfect. So what I have done just a revert, which means I am just showing this image at the moment. My posters don't have images, so these images are broken. That's why we are seeing broken images. All right. So next thing is next thing is to use our categories naming. All right. So if we come back to our categories, we do see names of each categories assigned to the post. So how to do that? So inside our post, we can simply do something like categories, and we can get the category. what it does, it gives us array of the categories assigned to that particular post, which post, the one we are inside the loop. And now inside that we can simply as run through the for each loop to get some names. So we can say something like cat and then name. I'll be explaining you why I did this. So I can simply call it like array. Alright. So what I did, I simply created a variable array, and then I fetch categories for that post, and then I have run through the loop of categories, and then for each category's name I have added it inside the array. Alright. So now how to use that array like this, because we needed it to be have a comma separated. So we can simply echo our array but with implode method, implode function. Implode is PHP's built-in function. Based on that we can implode our array, so like this. All right, so if I simply save and check again. All right, perfect. So we are fetching actual categories. If we are like this, proper, perfect. So if we also want to link these categories to their proper URLs, we can do that. So for your learning purposes, it's your learning curves, like how to do that. We can do that. Let me give you something. For example, so how we can do that? So we can simply, if there are three categories, we can then, instead of getting names directly here, we can simply run a for each loop on this. All right, and then we can create separate anchor tags, and in that we can add link of that particular category. So it's a bit of learning for you, but I will be moving towards the next step. So what's next step? Next step is I have to make this title dynamic. How we do that? We simply call the title function. All right, and also we have to add our anchor, because whenever this title is clicked, it goes to its proper post. So how we do that? We call its permalink function. All right, so we have to close our anchor tag here. Perfect. Now if I show you no link at all, but if I just refresh, and this time if everything goes fine and our title is dynamic and our anchor is showing perfect. All right, so but if you check our style got disturbed, it is also another learning for us why our style got disturbed. So if we go to the anchor tag, and if you go to this anchor tag, you will see, so color is applied. But if we can go to our CSS, that's how we make our changes. All right, so instead of like this, I can simply say if it is inside a H3, so it should be black but not colored one. If everything goes fine, it will be good. Perfect. So now our anchor is showing fine. Now what is left for this particular series? This thing. So we have to make our date dynamic as well. So I can simply use get the date function, and I can pass my parameters for the month, date and year accordingly. All right, let me quickly show if it is all good, because by now all dates are static, and if everything is fine we will perfect. So we are seeing actual data for each post. All right, so if we have to just verify it, I can simply set to posts per pages to 9, rather than 6. And if we check again what it does, but we are still fetching 6 items, so now it's loaded. So we are good to go, and we are having proper 9 posters. All right, we have covered a lot of ground in this particular series. Like, we have created our shortcode, we have made our shortcode dynamic, we have learned how to provide our fallback image, how to fetch our actual data, how to make our post grids dynamic. All right, in the next video, we will be making this shortcode even dynamic by adding more attributes. Like, if we want to show live search and show category filters, and we will also be checking if more items are available, then we will be providing a load more, because the main purpose of the series is to learn how to dynamically fetch load more items without page load, and how to implement live search in any of project, and how to also provide a category-based search without page load. All right, this is only for learning purposes, and but it is a great product, because instead of posts, like we discussed, you can add one more an argument for the post type, and you can also make it dynamic to use for WooCommerce products or any of your post types. All right, so by now we have done a lot, and in the next video I'll see you. Have a nice time. See you. Bye bye.